Welcome students to class 7th. Today we'll start with our geography chapter 4 air. So let's start with the introduction of the chapter. First we'll read the box. Carbon dioxide released in the atmosphere creates a greenhouse effect by trapping the heat radiated from the earth. This is therefore called a greenhouse gas, and without it the earth would have been too cold to live in. However, when its level in the atmosphere increases due to factory smoke or car fumes, the heat retained increases the temperature of the earth. This is called global warming. This rise in temperature caused the snow in coldest part of the world to melt. As a result, the sea level rises, causes flood in the coastal areas. There may be drastic changes in the climate of a place, leading to extinction of some plants and animals in long run. So, in this, there's a description about the greenhouse effects, that though greenhouse gas is important, as without it our earth will be too cold, but when it increases due to the factory smoke or the fuels we are using in our vehicles, due to that it increases the heat and temperature of the earth, and it leads to the global warming. And what happens as it increases the as it leads to the global warming, it leads to the melting of snow which is in the coldest part of the world, and as the snow melt, it result into the rise in the sea level, and it also cause floods in coastal areas, which can again affect the extinction of plants and animal. Let's start with the chapter. This is a very important point, students. That's why I started with this box. Our earth is surrounded by a huge blanket of air called atmosphere. We have already studied in our earlier chapters what are the components of environment, that is lithosphere, atmosphere, biosphere. So one is the atmosphere. So in this chapter we will be having a deep thorough study of atmosphere. Okay. All living beings on this earth depend on the atmosphere for their survival. It provides us the air we breathe and protect us from the harmful effects of the sun rays. Without this blanket of protection, we would be baked alive by heat of the sun during day and get frozen during the night. So it is this mass of air that has made the temperature on the earth livable. So what is the importance of atmosphere? Due to this atmosphere only we are protected and we can survive on this planet, because the sun rays are very harmful without this atmosphere, and it can bake us and even froze us at night. So it is the most important part of our life, that is the atmosphere. Now what is the composition of the atmosphere? Let us know. Do you know that the air we take in while breathing is actually a mixture of many gases? Nitrogen and oxygen are the two gases which make up the bulk of atmosphere. So what are the composition of the atmosphere? That is the nitrogen and oxygen. Carbon dioxide, helium, ozone, argon and hydrogens are found in lesser quantities. So the bulk quantity of gases is nitrogen and oxygen, and other gases are also present there. They are carbon dioxide, helium, ozone, argon and hydrogen. You can look at the chart given, pie chart. The amount of nitrogen is 78%, then oxygen 21%, then all other, that is 0.04%, argon is 0.93% and carbon dioxide 0.03%. This is the quantity that is given of different gases present in our atmosphere. Apart from these gases, tiny dust particles are also present in the air. The pie chart gives you the percentage of different constituents of air. Nitrogen is the most plentiful gas in the air. When we inhale, we take some amount of nitrogen into our lungs and exhale it. But plants need more nitrogen for their survival. They cannot take nitrogen directly from the air. Bacteria that live in the soil and roots of some plants take nitrogen from the air and change its form so that plant can use it. So as nitrogen is the gas which is present in the abundant quantity in our environment, and we inhale the nitrogen but we exhale it as it is present with the oxygen in the atmosphere. Then plants need more amount of nitrogen and they can't take it directly from the air. So what they do, they used to take it by bacteria that are living in the roots and soil of our earth. Oxygen is the second most plentiful gas in the air. Humans and animals take oxygen from the air as they breathe. Green plants produce oxygen during photosynthesis. In this way, oxygen content in the air remains constant. If we cut trees, then this balance gets disturbed. So this is the most important point. Try to understand. Oxygen is the second most plentiful gas. It means the second mostly present gas is the oxygen. So animals and humans, they breathe and take the oxygen, and green plants during the process of preparing their food, we can say that process is called photosynthesis. During that process, green plants exhale oxygen. So in this way, the content of oxygen remains constant in our environment. But if we cut the trees, then this balance can get disturbed. I hope you understand what I explained you. Then carbon dioxide is another important gas. Green plants use carbon dioxide to make their foods and release oxygen. This is a process of photosynthesis. Plants inhale carbon dioxide and exhale oxygen. Humans or animals release carbon dioxide. The amount of carbon dioxide released by humans or animals seems to be equal to the amount used by the plants, which make a perfect balance. However, the balance is upset by burning of fuels such as coal and oil. They add billions of tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere each year. As a result, the increased volume of carbon dioxide affects the Earth climate and weather. So, this is the balancing process, that as the carbon dioxide is exhaled by humans and animals, then plants use the same carbon dioxide for the purpose of making their process of photosynthesis, and they exhale oxygen. So that maintains a balance between the oxygen and carbon dioxide in our environment. But when we burn fuels, then oil, then what happens? This balance get disturbed and it produces billions of tons of carbon dioxide, and it results in the change in the Earth's climate and weather. Let's read the box also. When air is heated, it expands, becomes lighter and goes up. Cold air is denser and heavy. That is why it tends to sink down. When hot air rises, cold air from surrounding area rushes there to fill up the gap. This is how air circulation takes place. So what is the circulation of air? It is given in this box. That what they are saying, that the air which is warm, we can say heated up, it expand and it is lighter in weight, so it is upper side, and the cold air is denser. So this is the rotation, how the air is circulating in our surrounding. You can look at the picture and try to understand that how the change in the weather due to balancing due to disturbance in the balancing, what is the results that are coming. The global warming is there, then the weather is changing, and all the, this is the newspaper cuttings given, and they are asking a question that is global warming a serious issue in today's world? Yes, it is a serious issue. Now let's go through the structure of the atmosphere. We had gone through the components, we can say, or constituents of composition of the atmosphere. Now let's go through the structure of the atmosphere. Our atmosphere is divided into 5 layers starting from the Earth's surface. So there are 5 layers, that is starting from the Earth's surface. What are they? These are troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere and exosphere. This is you can look at the picture. This is the layers of the atmosphere. Okay. So this is the starting. This is the troposphere, then stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere and exosphere. We'll understand one by one. Troposphere, this layer is the most important layer of the atmosphere. Its average height is 13 km. The air we breathe exists here. Almost all the weather phenomena like rain, fog and hailstorm occur in this layer. So what all functions are happening here? Weather phenomena like rainfall, fog and hailstorm all occurs in this layer, in the troposphere. Okay. Then second one is the stratosphere. Above the troposphere lies the stratosphere. It expands up to the height of 50 km. This layer is almost free from clouds and associated weather phenomena, making conditions most ideal for flying aeroplanes. One important feature of a stratosphere is that it contains a layer of ozone gas. We have just learned how it protects us from the harmful effects of the sun rays. So in the stratosphere lies the ozone layer. You can look at the picture, and it is the best place to fly the aeroplane. Aeroplanes are flying in this area only because it is free of clouds and it is about 50 km from in height. Okay, it is extended up to 50 km. Then third is the mesosphere. This is the third layer of the atmosphere. It lies above the stratosphere. It extends up to 80 kilometers. Meteorites burn up in this layer on entering from the space. So at this place, the meteoroids which are entering in our earth, they burn in this area. Okay. Then next is a thermosphere. In thermosphere, temperature rises very rapidly with increasing height. Ionosphere is a part of this layer. It extends between 80 to 400 km. This layer helps in radio transmission. In fact, radio waves transmitted from the earth are reflected back to the earth by this layer. So the radio layers which are we are using radio, so the radio waves are reflected from this area only, the thermosphere. The temperature of this place rises very fast. And what other qualities are? It is around up to 400 kilometers. Okay. Then last one is the exosphere. The uppermost layer of the atmosphere is known as the exosphere. This layer is very thin air. Light gases like helium and hydrogen floats in the space from here. So this, which are the two gases which are the hydrogen and helium are floating in this area. It is the thin layer of atmosphere. I hope you understand the structure of the atmosphere. It is very easy. Okay. Then weather and climate. Is it going to rain today? Will it be bright or sunny today? How many times we have heard this from anxious cricket fans speculating the fate of a one-day match. We imagine our body to be a radio and the mind its speaker. Weather is something that fiddles with its control knobs. Weather is this hour-to-hour, day-to-day condition of the atmosphere. A hot or humid weather may make one irritable. A pleasant breezy weather may make one cheerful and even plan for an outing. Weather can change dramatically from day to day. However, the average weather condition of a place for a longer period of time represent the climate of a place. Now, do you understand what we have daily weather forecast? So they are saying that you have heard the commentary of cricket fans. They are speculating like today will be a good day and the match which is going to be there, it will be good, weather will be good. All they are saying this, they are giving you a information, a probability that today the weather will be clear, there will be not much sunny and hot and humid, and it will be a pleasant day, good for cricket or going outside. So weather means a change which can change day to day, and it is for a short, it is a condition which is for a short period of time. And in the same way, climate is a condition of a place for a longer period of time. It represents the climate. That is the difference between a climate and a weather. Temperature. The temperature you feel every day is the temperature of the atmosphere. The degree of hotness and coldness of the air is known as the temperature. So what is the meaning of temperature? When we see today, it is very hot. Today there is so much cold is there. So that is the meaning of the temperature. The temperature you feel every day is the temperature of the atmosphere, and the degree of hotness and coldness of air is known as the temperature. The temperature of the atmosphere changes not only between day and night but also from seasons to season. Climate are we can say, during the summer season there is hot, and during the winter season there is less hot and it is more cold. So this is the changing in the temperature of an atmosphere, not only day to day but during the seasons also. Likewise, today there is rain, then today there is little bit cold, okay, atmosphere, and tomorrow there can be sunny day and it is very hot and very irritable. Like this changes not only day to day but also season to season. An important factor that influences the distribution of temperature is insolation. So what is the meaning of insolation? It is the incoming solar energy intercepted by the earth. That is the meaning of insolation. The amount of insolation decreases from the equator towards the pole, therefore the temperature decreases in the same manner. That means the factor, that is insolation, that will affect the temperature of a place. How it will affect the temperature? As it moves from the equator, it will decreases the temperature. Now do you understand why poles are covered with snow? Now I hope you understand why poles are covered with snow, because the isolation decreases from the equator towards the pole. If the earth's temperature rises too high, it could be become too warm for some crops to grow. Temperatures in city is much higher than that of a village. The concrete and metals in buildings and the asphalt of road get heated up during the day. This heat is released during the night. Also, the crowded high-rise building of the cities trap the warm air and thus raise the temperature of the city. So the location also affects the temperature of a place. Likewise, the cities are more warmer than the villages. Okay. The standard unit of the measuring temperature is degree Celsius. It was invented by Andreas Celsius. On the Celsius scale, the water freezes at 0 degree Celsius and boils at 100 degree Celsius. So what is the standard unit of measuring temperature? You may have heard in your earlier classes or at your home that the standard unit of measuring temperature is degree Celsius, and it was invented by Andreas Celsius. What is the freezing point of water? That is 0 degree Celsius and boiling is 100 degree Celsius. Air pressure. You will be surprised to know that air above us presses us with a great force on our bodies. However, we don't even feel it. This is because the air pressurizes us from all directions and our body exerts a counter press. Air pressure is defined as the pressure exerted by the weight of air on the earth's surface. As we go up in the layers of atmosphere, the pressure falls rapidly. So what is the importance of air pressure? Our body is pressurized by air from all the directions, and our body also exerts a counter pressure, means our body also gives a pressure. But as we go up in the surfaces, what happens? The pressure falls rapidly and the air pressure is highest at sea level and decreases with height. Horizontally, the distribution of air pressure is influenced by temperature of air at a given place. In areas where temperature is high, the air gets heated and rises. This creates a low pressure area, and low pressure is associated with cloudy skies and wet weathers. In areas having lower temperature, the air is cold. It is therefore heavy. As we read that the heated up, or we can say warm air, is lighter than the cold air. The air is cold, that means it is heavy, and heavy air sinks and create a high pressure area, and high pressure area is associated with clear and sunny skies. The air always moves from high pressure area to low pressure area. On the moon there is no air and hence no air pressure. Yes, there is no air on moon, so there is no air pressure. Astronauts have to wear special protective space suits filled with air when they go on to the moon. If they do not wear these space suits, the counter pressure exerted by the body of the astronaut would make the blood vessel burst. The astronaut would bleed. So what is the reason why they are wearing a special suit when they are going to the moon? Because there is no air and there is no air pressure is present there. So when their body will exert the pressure, then the blood vessels will get burst. That is the reason why they are wearing a suit with air, which is filled with air. This is the importance of air pressure. I hope you understand. The next is the wind. A wind is named after the direction from which it blows. Example, the wind blowing from the west is called westerly. So the names are given. The winds which is blowing from the west side, that is called the westerly winds, and which are flowing from east, then they are called easterly winds. The movements of air from high pressure area to low pressure area is called wind. So what is the definition of wind? The movement of air from high pressure area to low pressure area. In air pressure, what we read, the air always moves from high pressure area to low pressure area. So this process is called the wind. You can see wind at work as it blows dry leaves down the pavement or uproots trees during a storm. Sometimes when the wind blows gently, you can even see it blowing away smoke or fine dust. At times, wind can be so strong that it is difficult to walk against it. You must have experience. It is not easy to hold an umbrella on a windy day. Think of some other example when strong winds have created problems for you. So, what they are saying, that winds can be strong and gentle. If they are gentle, if you are burning something, then the smoke, you can see that it is going with the wind. The way it is going, in the direction it is going, the way wind was going, the smoke will also go with it. And also you can see the heavy winds, like on a very windy day, you can't go with an umbrella. It will go in the opposite direction in which you are moving, and you can't hold it easily. So this is a description about wind. Then wind can be broadly divided into three types. What are the three types of winds are there? That are permanent, seasonal and local. Let us understand what is the meaning of permanent winds. The trade winds, westerlies and easterlies, are the permanent winds. This blows constantly throughout the year in the particular directions. That means they are permanent winds. They are blowing constantly throughout the year in the particular direction. What are they? Westerlies and easterly winds. Then seasonal winds. These winds change their direction in different seasons. For example, monsoon in India. So these are the seasonal winds. During the season of monsoon, they are blowing in a particular direction. That means they change their direction as per the season. The next one is the local winds. This blow only during a particular period of day or year in a small area. For example, land and sea breeze. Yes, you may have remembered, we have studied in our earlier class about land and sea breeze. So these are the local winds that blow during a particular day of the year, or in a small area. We can say all over the year in a small area, that are called the local winds. Major pressure belts and wind system. This is the pressure belt and wind system. You can see winds are always blowing in from high pressure area to low pressure area in the polar easteries. Then in this picture in the 90° north also you can see, and 90° south also they are blowing from high pressure area to low pressure area. Same in the subpolar lower pressure and subtropical higher pressure area, they are blowing in the from higher pressure area to lower pressure area. This decides their direction. Cyclone, nature's fury. This is a description given of a cyclone which occurred in Orissa, located on the eastern seacoast of India. Is prone to cyclone that originate in the Bay of Bengal on 17-18 October 1999. Cyclone hit 5 districts of the states. Another supercyclone occurred on 29 October 1999 that devastated large portion of the state. The damages caused were mainly due to 3 factors: wind velocity, rain and tidal surge. So they are giving a description about a cyclone which occurred in Odisha. They are saying that it is a prone to cyclone, means the cyclones used to occur there in Bay of Bengal. The dates are given 17 and 18 October. Cyclone hit 5 districts of the state, and on 29 October in the same year again a large portion of the state was devastated due to a cyclone. And what were the main 3 reasons which causes the damages? That was the wind velocity, rain and tidal surge. The winds are up to 260 km per hour. You can't imagine the speed of the wind, that is 260 km per hour, lasted for over 36 hours. This high velocity winds uprooted trees and damaged the kacha houses. That means the houses which were so weak and they are not permanent fixed, means they are kacha, then they were destroyed. Rooftops of several industries, shed and other houses were also blown away. Power supplies and telecom lines snapped completely. Heavy rain occurred under the influence of the cyclone of 3 days continuously. This rain leads to flooding in many rivers of Orissa. The cyclone winds caused tidal waves that swept 20 km. The tidal waves which came from the sea that swept over 20 km. So this is a description of the Orissa cyclone. You can just go through it. This all they have give you so that you can understand. This is cyclonic rain. Cold air is going and warm air is going upper as it is lighter, and cold air is taking place of the warm air. Okay. Moisture. When water evaporates from land and different water bodies, it became water vapor. Moisture in the air at any time is known as humidity. What is the meaning of humidity? The moisture which is present in the air, that is called the humidity. When the air is full of water vapors, we call it a humid day. As the air gets warmer, its capacity to hold the water vapor increases, and so it becomes more and more humid. On a humid day, clothes take longer to dry and sweat from our body do not evaporate easily, making us feel very uncomfortable. Usually we say the day is very humid and we can't tolerate that climate. What happens during that climate? We feel very means the sweat is not coming, evaporating very easily, and our clothes are also not getting dry very easily. So that is the description about humid day. When the water vapor rises, it starts cooling. The water vapor condenses, causing formation of droplets of water. Clouds are just masses of such droplets. When these droplets of water become too heavy to float in air, then they come down as precipitation. So they are giving you a water cycle, description of water cycles, that as the water evaporate into the air, it became water vapor, and as it can't hold it for much more time, as the air cools, water vapor condenses, then it forms a droplet of water and it falls in the form of a precipitation. Jet planes flying in the sky leave a white trail behind them. The moisture from this engine condenses. We see trails of this condensed moisture for some time when then there is no air movement to disturb it. You may have seen sometimes jet planes in the atmosphere. When they are moving from in the atmosphere, you can see they give a shape behind them. So what is the white trail? That is due to the moisture which is getting out from the engines. It condenses and you can see it. Precipitation that comes down to the earth in liquid is called the rain. Most of the groundwater comes from rainwater. Plants help preserve water. When trees on hillsides are cut, rainwater flows down the bare mountain and can cause flooding of lower areas. On the basis of mechanism, there are three types of rainfalls: the conventional rainfall, orographic rainfall and the cyclonic rainfall. So what are the three types of rainfall are there? That are the conventional, orographic and cyclonic. So cyclonic is due to cyclone, when cyclone came into the sea, and another one is the orographic rainfall. Okay, then third one is the conventional rainfall. Rainfall is very important. Rainfall is very important for the survival of plants and animals. It brings fresh water to the earth's surface. If rain is less, water scarcity and drought occur. On the other hand, if it is more, flood takes place. So this is a description of rain, that it can be of three types, that is cyclonic, orographic and conventional rainfall. It all occur due to the air, atmosphere, but at different factors, influenced by different factors. I hope you understand the chapter. We'll do the exercise part. I'll give you the PDF for the same. For any doubt, just ask me before we start our new chapter.